Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Book of Life. This is a 2014 film. It runs an hour and 41 minutes long, and this is one of the 20th Century Fox acquisitions. I was correct. It was didn't start out as a pushed off to the side Disney film. This was very much a 20th Century Fox film, and it stars Diego Luna, Zoe Saldana, Channing Tatum, and a host of other actors that you'll recognize, especially Latin actors. Uh, this is a story within a story kind of thing. Basically, it starts out with a bunch of kids on a school trip to the museum. They're troublemakers, and they get taken to the side by this very knowledgeable tour guide, lovely young woman, voiced by Christina Applegate, and she takes them off to this other side room, and suddenly they're presented with the history of the Day of the Dead in Mexico, and she tells them this grand story with little figurines that look like little wooden dolls, and we of course then get to see it all played out in the film through her. She provide every once in a while they cut away back to her and the kids and their reactions to certain major moments in the film, but it's pretty much this grand story told over the course of an hour and 41 minutes. But they're all portrayed. Yes, it's all 3D animated, and this was probably also projected in 3D in the theaters because there's a lot of stuff in here that makes it look like it was made for that. I think it would have looked astounding to see this in 3D. I have not seen this before. So yeah, this story is all told in 3D and everything else, 3D animation, but the characters are all have the texture of wooden dolls. So it adds another layer of just creativity. Rather than just making them human-looking characters, everybody has little joints, and you can see that they look like little Pinocchio characters instead, but with very much a Mexican flair to it all. So it's a story of three best friends. It's I want to say is Manolo, Maria, and Joaquin. And Manolo is played by Diego Luna, Maria is Zoe Saldana, and Joaquin is Channing Tatum. And yeah, they're three best friends, of course, but the two boys are even at a young age are fighting for the eye and the heart of the lovely young Maria, and of course she causes a lot of trouble because she wants to protect animals, and she protects little pig from the butcher, and it causes the boys to follow in her stead, and all hell breaks loose, and she gets shuffled off, and the boys are left to their lives growing up. But in the background, we learn a story about La Muerte, very gorgeous. She's death. She's death. She's beautiful, but she's death. She's got this gigantic hat, and also, but by the way, she's played by Kate Del Castillo, and then there is, why can't I say his name? Zabulba. Sounds like Zabulba, but it's not. It's Zabulba with an X, and he's played by Ron Perlman. By the way, this is a Guillermo del Toro film, but directed by George Gutierrez. But it's produced by Master of the Macabre, Guillermo del Toro, and he's done Hellboy, and he's done Pan's Labyrinth, and a number of other scary bits of scary stuff, and of course, hey, he brings in some people he knows really well, such as Hellboy himself, Ron Perlman, to play the main bad guy in this. And it's basically an old fable kind of story, and the two otherworldly beings, they place a bet on which boy will win the heart of the young girl eventually, who will marry her. And the boys take two very different paths, even though they are still best friends. The one is a warrior, a soldier, just like his father. The other one grows up to be a bullfighter, but he doesn't really want to hurt bulls. He doesn't really want to do that. He's more of a musician, but they both follow in their father's footsteps and become great at what they do. So all that comes down to is what happens when Maria returns to town, who will win her heart. And depending on what happens, the fate of the other world comes into play, which is who will rule the land of the remembered, which is also land of the dead kind of thing, but it's those who are remembered and those who are forgotten. And Zibalba runs the forgotten area. La Muerte takes care of the much more joyous and vibrant and colorful world of the remembered. And it all ties back to the Day of the Dead, which is when it becomes time for remembrance of family and traditions and things like that. And it's a big celebration. It's joyous. It's not as gloomy as one might think. It's not as it's not mournful in any way. And like one kid who was being told the story, when they cut away to his reaction, he's like, "What is with Mexicans and death?" It's pretty much his reaction. That might be the reaction for a lot of people who don't understand the culture, and it's obviously been my reaction as well in the past. Like, why is this a celebration? I'm an old white guy, so I don't really understand that. Even though I live in California, I still have a lot to learn. So this taught me a lot, and maybe it's not exactly 100% a true retelling of the traditions and everything else for the Mexican people, but it's still it's entertaining, and it's funny, it's beautiful, and it's exciting. It's kind of a real thrill ride kind of thing. It's very busy. There's almost not a moment where you get to take a breath in this. It's constantly moving, but the performances by all the actors are great. Channing Tatum, it just always does a lot of great. He's the Magic Mike guy. He's got he looks like a superhero type of dude, but he's so good at comedy, like 21 Jump Street and things like that, the movies, and 22 Jump Street. He's really a funny guy, and you don't necessarily expect that from him. And Zoe Saldana, she is as strong-headed as all of her characters are. She plays Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy, so yeah, you know who she is. And then there's Diego Luna, who plays Cassian Andor from Rogue One, and he's getting his own series, with K2SO and everything else coming up on Disney Plus as well. The fun thing to know about Diego Luna is that he performed both the English and the Spanish translations of his character's roles. And it's not just speaking, he sings in this. In fact, there's a number of pop songs throughout this. I think there's an Elvis song, there's a Radiohead song, there is a Mumford & Sons song, so there's a lot of other more modern stuff, but it's all with a very Mexican guitar foundation in these songs. It's there's a mariachi band. Cheech Marin is in this and in it, and I think I can't think of the name. Gabriel Iglesias. There's a number of Mexican actors in this that fill in a lot of roles, especially the comedic roles that you would expect Cheech Marin and Gabriel Iglesias to perform. So yeah, it's very fun. It's exciting. If you've not seen this, and especially if you're Mexican, I imagine most of my Mexican friends have seen this. I can't speak for sure, but I'm pretty sure they have. I don't think it did super well when it came out. It kind of just came and went. But I think it's had new life on video, and certainly now on Disney Plus, hopefully. So if you get a chance, I would highly recommend checking this out, especially as we get closer to the Day of the Dead, which is November 2nd? 1st? 2nd? I always think it's the 1st. But here they say it's the 2nd in the film. I don't know. I'm not an expert on such things. But, between very interesting arrangements for music. I wasn't expecting a whole lot of pop songs in this, and I wouldn't call it a musical, but because Diego Luna is pretty much, for the most part, the only person who sings in this. I think Zoe Saldana joins him in one song in a duet, but yeah. Part of me thinks, was there a video game for this? Because honestly, a lot of the fight sequences look like humongous video game fight sequences, because the one big bad in the earthly realm is he's like a mechanical cyborg type being with stretchy arms and things, not stretchy but like retractable and stretching again arms, and it looks like a humongous battle out of Legend of Zelda kind of thing. So yeah, it's it's like that. It's yeah, it does get a little video gamey at times when it comes to, you know, reaching certain goals and levels and things like that. I would play this game though. It looks fun. So yeah, I'd say check it out if you get a chance. If you're curious about such things, and obviously if you love Coco, I have to admit I haven't seen it yet. I own it on Blu-ray, because I bought it because I was like, hey, you got a good deal, you know. And I figured I was going to watch it right away, but I haven't. Sorry, but I've now decided to wait until it actually comes up in the rotation here randomly, and I'll watch it. And it hasn't come up yet. I watched the movie or the music concert based on it, but I haven't watched the actual movie yet. I know what it's all about. I know it breaks a lot of hearts, but yeah, if you love that, I think you might get a kick out of this. It's not the same movie at all, from what I've been told. It's still a good time. So, The Book of Life. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
642.
Oh, I can hear you that time, barely. 642. Oh. This is kind of a new, I think this is a Disney Plus original. I'm pretty sure. It says it's a movie, but I thought it was a series. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. Either way, we're watching Upside Down Magic. Upside Down Magic is a movie, apparently. We're going to watch that on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.